Earon Lee. Keep it locked here on Omega Radio.
Selling or investing in real estate in Florida? Join Bishop Mark Hardy of Coldwell Banker along with Tanya Palmer Lodge and Earon Lee of Century Point Lending Solution right here on Omega Radio every Monday at 8:45 a.m. for Let's Talk Real Estate, as they share with you everything you need to know to be successful in the real estate market. You can't. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate with Bishop Mark Hardy of Coldwell Banker along with Tanya Palmer Lodge and Earon Lee of Century Point Lending Solutions.
Hey, good morning to all our listeners out there in Radio Land. It's Let's Talk Real Estate, another Monday morning where we are pleased to join you and to share with you some tidbits on how to best navigate the landscape of the real estate marketplace. Certainly, it is always a pleasure joining you. We trust that you had a great weekend and you're looking towards this brand new week with all its possibilities and opportunities. Great that you have joined us. And in studio with me, Bishop Mark Hardy, are our great, I call them the mortgage brokers in South Florida, and here in Florida generally, they are the gurus of the mortgage brokerage industry. Tanya Palmer and Earon Lee. Morning, guys. Welcome.
Good morning, Mark, and good morning to the listeners out there.
Yes, great to have you, and we know that we are going to have a great program this morning, as we have always done, sharing with our listeners how they can maximize on the acquisition of their homes. Undoubtedly, home acquisition is a big decision and one of the largest and most important investment that any person can make. And one of the things we want to do is to help you to make this process as smooth and indeed as positive as possible. And so to this end, we are going to share with you this morning some tidbits on what we call do's and don'ts as you seek to navigate your way towards owning your home. Because there are a number of things that some of us are not aware of or we take for granted. And they can significantly affect how the process evolves. Sometimes in our favor, and oftentimes when we do the wrong things, cost us. So I want to put you guys on the spotlight this morning, and I'm going to be your interviewer. Yes. And so I'm going to shoot you some questions, and I want you to provide our listeners with explanations as to the why not or why should. Yes. One of the things that we always ask is that the prospective homeowner promptly provide all documentations, including all the pages of their information. Why?
You want to take that one, Miss Tanya?
Sure. Why? Because that allows us to be able to put together what is called their pre-approval letter. Okay, so in order to get them pre-approved, we have to get the pay stubs. We always ask for 30 days worth of pay stubs, as well as your last 2 months bank statement. And we ask for all pages of that bank statement. In some cases, there's a bank statement that has 5 pages and we get 1 of 3. Even though the other 2 may be blank, we still need to show them because we need to just prove that there's nothing on those additional pages. So the documentation is just vital in being able to set you up properly for your pre-approval. So providing the documentation is one of the key aspects of getting that pre-approval together.
Okay.
Let's give a real world example on that, Mark. So let's say you have a buyer and that buyer receives alimony. a lot of times when buyers are completing their loan application, they don't include the alimony as part of their income. But as Tanya and I are reviewing those bank statements, we see this regular deposit from Mark Hardy every month.
Yes.
It then allows us to prompt the buyer to say, hey, what is this that Mark is paying you every month? Oh, by the way, that is my alimony and it's $1,500 a month. Well, guess what? You now have $1,500 of additional income that we can use. So, you know, a lot of folks feel like it's more of an invasion of privacy when we ask for the information. It's more so just for clarity and making sure that we, as Tanya mentioned, that we see the full picture and know what all the sources of income may be, and or maybe there's a debt on that bank statement that you're paying each month that may not show on credit. So those things can affect the pre-approval, and that's why we ask for.
Along the same vein, there is a big do not that we want our listeners to be mindful of. And that is, do not make large deposits into your bank account. So it's the flip side of that. Why?
Well, it goes back to the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Fraud. It also goes back to the antitrust rules that are out there. And if any one of our listeners out there have gone to the bank and tried to make a large deposit in the neighborhood of $10,000 or more, usually is the trigger. There's a nice little form that the banks have you fill out, right, to kind of document where this money is coming from. For us, when we're approving somebody for a mortgage, we have to be able to source all funds, right? If it's a large deposit going into your bank account today and we're looking at it today, there's going to be a question as where it's coming from, because guess what? The final decision when you get into underwriting and for this file to pass all the QC checks, quality control checks for final approval, those questions will come up. So what we try to do is get those answers now so we know what we need to do and if there's any documentation else that we need to gather.
As you go through the process of home ownership, significant to getting that loan or that approved, well, is more the loan, is for you to contact your insurance agent to inform them of your new home acquisition. Why?
Well, let's take Florida, for example. You want them to know that you have insurance in case anything ever comes up. In case you have a storm, let's say, you need to be able to reach out to the insurance agent, letting them know that this is who my current policy is with. This is how much is my deductible, because that's going to all be on your actual policy for your insurance. So these are the things that you want to make sure that your agent or whomever you're working with knows that you now have a policy in place.
Okay. And you should continue to make right now your credit cards, your hire purchase, we call it hire purchase back home in Jamaica, but whatever credit you are servicing, you need to be constant and current while you go through that approval process. Why is it so critical?
Well, one of the key components of your loan approval or pre-approval is your credit report, right? And when we pull a credit report, let's say we pull that credit report today, the status of that credit report is then read through an algorithm system, right? Which then gives us a determination on whether or not we can approve this loan or not, okay? If you change something, then your approval may no longer be valid because of that change that you made. If you allow a car payment to go delinquent for 1 or 2 months, if you allow those credit cards to go 1 or 2 months, or if there's something else now that reports on credit that was not there when the decision was made, your approval could be voided because of those changes. So that's why we stress the importance of paying everything on time. And if should anything change, you should alert your loan officer because that change could affect your approval. Now, we also know that life happens and you may have to use those credit cards and your balance that was $500 may now be $5,000 because you had to do something. Okay? Life happens. But the key is to keep your loan officer in the loop of what's going on so that they can make sure that the change that happened in life doesn't affect your approval to buy this house. Or if it does, how can we get you back on track?
as we progress in this morning's program, we want you to know our numbers. You can get me, Mark Hardy, at 786-327-8844. 786-327-8844. And our mortgage gurus.
You can reach us at Century Point Lending, and our number here is 954-890-4320.
There are two don'ts that are critical that we want to address. First one is, do not apply for new credit. And you know, we are always getting credit offers here and new credit cards. Why is it important that you don't get any new credit?
Well, because as Earon kind of stipulated earlier, this could affect your pre-approval, your debt to income, as we like to call it. This could affect how you are qualified for that purchase.
And how much you're qualified for.
And how much you're qualified for. So going ahead, we've had a situation where someone was in the process, they were almost ready to close, and they felt it was necessary to go apply for furniture. But we weren't closed yet. So you don't want to do anything, because what happens is they went and they applied for a credit card, a new credit card. Before we even close, but what happens is we can, or sometimes the lenders will still do an additional check on your credit just to make sure that nothing was done. And of course, when the lender did do that final credit check, it showed that the person acquired a new card. Good thing it didn't affect them because it was a small one. They didn't use it, but it could have gone the other way. So you never want to do anything while you're in the process. Wait until you close. I always say, if you close today, go get a credit card tomorrow. Okay? Yeah. Because it does, and it can affect your your whole process. You could, a simple thing like that could just totally ruin your whole chance of buying a home that you're already close to, finishing up.
At that point in time. Yes.
You're so far along.
Yes, you can be excited. Wow, I'm getting my new home. Don't run and buy the furniture yet. Don't buy that new living room set yet.
Don't apply for anything new. I always say, once we start and once we issue that pre-approval, you are married to us until you close. So do not do anything without consulting us.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Your car could be falling apart. Keep driving it.
Keep driving it till the very end.
Yeah. And to just piggyback on that a little bit, Mark, if life happens and you have to, because we've had it happen as well, where, a buyer got into a terrible accident and needed a car. Mm-hmm. But the point here is to reach out and have that conversation. Hey, Earon, hey, Tanya, listen, I need to replace my car X, Y, and Z. What do you think? What's the max what's the max car payment that I can take on that won't affect my loan approval for this mortgage? And we've done that, and in some cases we've said, you know what, you can go get a car payment $500, $600, $700, and in some payments we said, don't do anything, see if you can borrow a car until after you have closed. So
yes, that is important. Our plan, our programs, all that we do are geared towards helping you to make that close and to get those keys. All right, one final one for this morning. Why is it that you're not acquiring any new loan, you're not financing anything, but you do not want to have any inquiry done on your credit?
Just like what I said. You have an inquiry happen, it's going to trigger to ask the question, what is that new debt? Mm-hmm. So you never want to have anything new popping up during the process, because it's going to trigger, it's going to look like you're acquiring something new, okay? So it's like you go out and or you're helping. You say, no, I'm going to help my son. He needs to apply for a credit card. I'm going to just, it's not affecting me. It does affect you, because you are now an authorized user on that card. So that debt is also a debt for you. So these are the things that you have to be mindful of, is that any little thing can trigger or harm your pre-approval. Earon can piggyback some more on that.
And one of the things that a lot of buyers our folks are always concerned about is, when you do that inquiry, how many points do you lose from your credit?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say you have a buyer who is at a 585, which is right there on the borderline for an FHA loan approval. Okay. You go out and you do a hard inquiry and you lose, let's say, 10 points. Now your score becomes a 575. You are now no longer eligible for a 3.5% down payment. You could still probably get the loan, but your down payment, well, no, conventional starts at 620. FHA will go all the way down to 500, but if you're under 580, your down payment changes from 3.5% to 10%.
Wow.
So that one inquiry could cost you not only in funds. If you have the funds to be able to do the 10%, great. If not, it could cost you the entire loan because now you're out of approval process or approval range, and you have to wait until your scores get back over that 580 to be able to qualify again.
And that will take you a while, and you just could lose that home that you are focused on. Yes. Yeah. And so it is our desire, it is our plan to work with you. You might not be in the position at this time to make the purchase, but as we have always said, let's begin the conversation.
Absolutely. You know, you got to know where you're starting to know where you're going to be able to go, or if you're already there. You know, we always say this, it's that people come into the office all the time and, oh, I don't think I can get approved, and boom, you pull the credit report and you look at the income and they're qualified for way more than what they thought they could ever do. So you just got to start, as Mark says, start by having that conversation. You know, you can always reach us in the office, 954-890-4320.
And we can continue this conversation even when we are no longer online. The program has come to an end. We can still talk. I am your real estate agent. You need to call me, 786-327-8844.
And you can reach us on our social media platforms at Century Point Lending Solutions. Definitely reach out. Again, we've always said it, but if you call in, you're going to get myself or Earon. And then if you call Mark, you're going to get Mark. So.
Right, direct. 786-327-8844. Looking forward to working with you and help you to make that dream a reality. We look forward to you being with us again the next time around when we come back to you on Let's Talk Real Estate. Do have yourselves a good and godly and blessed rest of the week. Bless you now.
That was Let's Talk Real Estate. Join us again next Monday at 8:45 a.m. for another informative program in the series Let's Talk Real Estate. Buying, selling, or investing in real estate in Florida? Join Bishop Mark Hardy of Coldwell Banker along with Tanya Palmer Lodge and Earon Lee of Century Point Lending Solution right here on Omega Radio every Monday at 8:45 a.m. for Let's Talk Real Estate, as they share with you everything you need to know to be successful in the real estate market.